Okay. For what it's worth, here we go. When you're ready.
Shuklam Bharadharan Vishnum Shashivarnan Chatur Pujam Prasannavadanan Dhyayet Sarva Vigno Pashantaye Yasya Dviradavaktradyah Parishatya Parashatam Vignan Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tramashraye.
Jnananandamayan devam nirmalas patikakritim adharam sarva vidyanam ayakrivamupas pundarikasanassinam Pandora Braindusannibham Akanda Bodhajanakam Hayakrivamupas
Guru Pyastat Guru Pyasha Namo Vakamati Mahe Rin Imahe Chatatra Dyao Dampati Jagatam Pati.
Shri Krishna Vagishayati Swarabhyam Samparasa Chakrankana Bhashyasaram Shri Narandendra Yattao Samarpitasvam Shri Krishna Maryam Guru Varyamide Virodhe Kartike Mase Shatatara Kritodayam Yogacharyam Krishna Varyam Guru Varyamaham Bhaje.
Shishyakam Krishna Maryasya Nathavam Shapradipakam Kalyana Gunarupantam Shri Deshikam Namam Yaham Prashanta Purushakaram Viniyoga Pracharakam Vishesha Vaidikam Surim Tandeshikam Smaram Yaham Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Sahana Vavatu Sahana Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, everyone. It flows more smoothly every week, doesn't it? It's very nice. So somehow, even through Zoom, we managed to get many voices in. Maybe not right at the same time, but we're doing it. And are you all, I'm curious, are you all chanting along with whoever's doing it unmuted?
Mhm.
It's nice to do that.
No.
The Bhagavad Gita, Neha Bhikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Svalpam api asya dharmasya Trayate mahato bhayat. Protects us. So who memorized it? In other words, did anyone remember to do their homework? Okay, good. Patty and Caitlin and okay, and I'm sure and Lisa and Sandra and Elizabeth, I know you know it anyway, right? So, Patty, would you please chant it for us?
Sure.
And chant the whole verse twice through. And then as soon as Patty's done, Caitlin, would you do the same thing? Chant the entire verse twice through. I won't ask you to do it backwards
Am I
today.
chanting Om first?
Yes, that
Okay.
sets the pitch. It's kind of nice. Yeah.
Om Nehapi Kramanashosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Svalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat Nehapi Kramanashosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Svalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat.
नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात् नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्.
Thank you both. And did you find when you got a chance to do it a second time that it was a little more refined for you? Sometimes I love the memories I have of Mary Dunn. She was my first and my favorite Iyengar yoga teacher. She used to say the first time we do it, she would, usually it was for back bends, you know, Urdhva Dhanurasana. She said the first time we do it, it's like the first pancake, you know, it doesn't quite work. So maybe when we're just starting in the session, the first time we chant a verse, it might feel like that first pancake. And then it gets rich and fluffy and bubbly the second time around. So the only thing I have to say, and actually, Patty, there was one little word, pratyavayo na vidyate. And actually for Caitlin too, even though I was thinking of other words, it improved the second time you did it. It was just, I was missing the pratya. What we've learned in Vedic chanting is to really articulate specifically all those little consonants. Pratyavayo, pratyavayo na vidyate. And the same thing, Caitlin, you both have beautiful voices. It's really lovely to hear. But for the same thing, Pratyavayo na vidyate dya. Dya. Just make it a little more pronounced, I would say, Caitlin. And then bhayat, bhayat. I know what it was. Mahato bhayat. So don't be afraid to really emphasize the yeah, yeah. So even though it's a soft consonant, there's a definite articulation with those Y's. Bhayat, bhayat. And the softness that you already have will still come through. But it's wonderful. It flowed so nicely for the two of you. It's great. So now let's see. Lisa, would you please chant it? And it doesn't matter what melody comes out. And I know, because I noticed that, did you all hear, Patty has an inclination towards a slightly different melody, and that's beautiful. So I'm not going to correct that because there's nothing to correct melodically. It was really nice. It's just nice to hear what your own natural tendency is. And I think it's good to follow that.
Okay.
Okay, girl, here you go. Ready, hit it.
Neha Bikramana Shosti Pratyavayo Navityate Svalpam Apyasya Damasya Treyate Mahato Bayat.
One more time.
Neha Bikramana Shosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Svalpam Apyasya Damasya Trayate Mahato Payat.
How beautiful, how beautiful. The only thing is, with those O letters, you can afford to take a little more time and not need to rush. No need to rush. So, Neha Bikramana Shosti Nashosti.
Okay.
And
the same with Mahato, is it as well?
Go ahead.
Treyate Mahato Bayat.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And it's kind of nice to know we can take a little more time. it slows down the heartbeat. And then the trayate, and I think this is your Australianness. I'm hearing trayate, and it's trayate, tra.
Yeah, I'm saying tray.
Tra. There you go.
Trayate Mahato Bayata.
Yes, beautiful. And then for you too, the ya. Trayate.
Trayate.
Yes.
Trayate Mahato Bayata.
Brava. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I hope it sounds pretty to you.
Oh, it does. And it was much better the second time than the first time. Well, it felt better. It felt better.
Tasting pancake. It sort of melts in the mouth better.
Thank you.
I just muted myself by mistake. It's like I go back and forth so many times. So, Elizabeth, would you please chant it? Oh, okay, so we did Lisa, so Elizabeth and then Sandra. So twice through with Elizabeth and twice through with Sandra.
Neha Bikramana Shosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Svalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. Neha Bikramana Shosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Svalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Payat.
Thank you. And Sandra?
Neha Bikramana Shosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Svalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Pyayata Neha Bikramana Shosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Svalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Payata.
It's really worthwhile to do it twice, isn't it? Did you both feel like you did it better the second time, or did you feel more confident?
It's a little easier. Mhm.
Yes, yeah. And for Sandra, your bhayat was better. I could hear the bha. And also the vidya, let's see, what else was it? Apyasya neha bhi. No, it was lovely, really lovely. And Elizabeth, oh, I know. The only thing I heard the first time, it was changed and corrected the second time. Apyasya. That's so hard. Apyasya, apyasya. You did it perfectly the second time. So now, just to gain confidence that you could just, if someone were to ask you or command that you chant this off the cusp and you didn't have anything written down in front of you, I bet every one of you could do it from memory. You may not feel, maybe not yet, but after today, perhaps. So put your papers down and no reading, no reading. You sit on your papers or put them upside down or something, but and no cheating. So, okay, so just repeat after me. Okay, I'm going to do that melody that I did last week just to have something fresh, if I can remember it. I forgot it. So anyway, Neha bhi, Neha bhi, Kramana shosti, Kramana shosti. Neha bhi, Kramana shosti. Twice more. Neha bhi, Kramana shosti. Neha bhi, Kramana shosti. Pratyavayo, Pratyavayo, Navidyate, Navidyate, Pratyavayo, Navidyate. Twice more. Pratyavayo navidyate. Pratyavayo navidyate. Now we'll just do those two lines. Nehabhi kramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate. Twice more. Nehabhi kramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate. Nehabhi kramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate. Svalpam, svalpam, apyasya, apyasya. Svalpamapyasya, svalpamapyasya. Dharmasya, dharmasya, dharmasya. We'll put those together 3 times. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhayat. Trayate mahato bhayat. Trayate mahato bhayat. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhayat. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhayat. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate mahato bhayat. Now let's do the whole verse twice through. Is it okay with you? I think I found that melody that from last week. Is it okay if we change it, or is that being too mean? Someone say something, unmute yourself. Okay, let's try this lullaby way that I did last week. Nehabhi. Nehabhi kramanashosti. Pratyavayo navidyate. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya. Trayate Mahato Bhayat. You'll notice that the samskara that I learned from all of you today was too strong, so we'll just stay with it. Okay, twice more. Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. And then to emphasize, trayate mahato bhayat. So, is memory coming? Some of you had your eyes closed. That was great. Do you feel that it's in you? Because I think it is.
I feel protected from great danger.
Good. Thank you, Patty. Isn't that a nice feeling? Thanks to Patty's wizardry, you might have received something. Thank you so much. I was talking to Elizabeth earlier today on the phone, because we were talking about the Bhadram Karnebhihi, which is quite a mouthful, isn't it? That we learned last week. And we can, if you wish to blame or thank someone, it's Caitlin to blame or thank because she requested it. So thank you. I'm thanking you, Caitlin, because I love that chant. But in the beginning, it might feel the way I felt today in yoga class. It was one of those days where she was making us go up into Shirshasana and pressing the back ribs in, and we weren't allowed to let our head touch the floor. And I screamed at her. But she couldn't hear me. But I confessed to her afterwards that I had yelled at her, and she just laughed. She said, yes, I know, it's very hard. You have to practice. Anyway, so this is actually, this is the Durgasuktam. Do you all have that in front of you? Durgasuktam. Now, I only typed out one section of an entirety of Durgasuktam that is in the mantra Valli. Because what I learned through reading the translation is that in the entire chant, this is the only phrase. The phrase you have in front of you is to Durga. And we will learn the entire chant on the whole page from this book. But all of the other parts of that chant are devoted to the god Agni, fire god. However, in one of the commentators, a little book that I know Elizabeth has and that I have, the translator and commentator explains that the rest of the chant is to the fire god Agni because a lot of characteristics are the same in Durga as in the fire god. So we need to burn up impurities and stuff. But here, this is this beautiful phrase. Durgan Devi Gung Sharanamaham Prapadye Sutara Sitara Se Namaha. So basically, we're calling her name, O Durga, O goddess Durga, Devi Gung. And the Gung is just that Anusvara. Sharana. Everyone say Sharanam. Sharanam. And the that nasal is with the tongue back in the cerebral. Sharanam, sharanam. It's a beautiful word, Sanskrit word meaning refuge, place of refuge. So I take refuge in you, sharanam, prapadye, sutarasi tarase namaha. I don't have the translation. Oh, yes, I do. Sorry, everyone. Sorry for the silence. I'm just looking for this one phrase in this book. Durgam Devim Sharanam Aham. Aham means I, first person singular. Prapadye. I take refuge in her, the goddess Durga. So excuse me, we're not addressing her. She's in the third person. I take refuge, Sharanam, in her, the goddess Durga, who is the luster of Agni and is radiant from the Aksasis. I don't even know what that is, Aksasis. Anyway, she is the power belonging to the Supreme who manifests himself manifoldly. She is the power in actions rendering their results efficacious or efficacious. You are skilled in saving us. You take us across the difficulties well. Salutations to you. Prapadye. And I can break down the translation for next week. So it sounds like this. Durgan Devi Gung Sharanamaham Prapadye Sutarasi Tarase Namaha. So repeat after me. Durgam, Durgam, Devim. So I'm just doing Devim because it's by itself. Devim Sharanam Sharanam Aham Aham Prapadye Prapadye Sutarasi Sutarasi Tarase Tarase Namaha Namaha. So if we were to put the first two words together, we have Durgam followed by Devim. And Durgam will change to Durgan, and the dental nasal at the end of Durgan because of the da preceding Devi. So in order for the tongue to beautifully go smoothly into the Devi, the anusvara has to change to the dental na at the very end of Durga. So it becomes Durgan Devi. So let's do that twice. Durgan Devim, Durgan Devim. Now at the end of Devim, there is a change because of the Sharanam that comes after Devim. So instead of Devim Sharanam, the Devim becomes a gung, the G gung, and the nasal following the G has to be in the throat. So the combination of Devim plus Sharanam will be like this. Devi Gung Sharanam, Devi Gung Sharanam. Twice more. Devi Gung Sharanam, Devi Gung Sharanam. And then we can simply add Aham, Aham. So from Sharanam, Sharanam Aham, Sharanam Aham. So let's put everything together through Sharanam Aham from Durgam. Durgan Devi Gung Sharanam Aham, Durgan Devi Gung Sharanam Aham, Durgan Devi Gung Sharanam Aham. And continuing, I'll start with Sharanam and put in Prapadye. Sharanam Aham Prapadye. Let's do that twice. Sharanam Aham Prapadye. Sharanam Aham Prapadye. Let's do that from the beginning. Durgan Devi Gung Sharanam Aham Prapadye. One more time. Durgan Devi Gung Sharanam Aham Prapadye. Sutara Sitara Se Namaha. I bet we can all do that together. Sutara Sitara Se Namaha. Twice more. Sutara Sitara Se Namaha. Sutara Sitara Se Namaha. Are you ready to put the whole thing together? Or should I ask first, is there anything, before we do that, are there any questions or is there anything you want to go over specifically? Okay, so 3 times we'll do this whole phrase. I'll start with Om. Om. Durgan Devi Gung Sharanam Aham Prapadye. Sutara Sitara Se Namaha. Sharanamaham Prapadye Sutarasitarase Namaha. I'll pick up the pace a little bit. Om Durgan Devi Gung Sharanamaham Prapadye Sutarasitarase Namaha. Good. So then the very ending, there's a lot on the page that comes before the ending, but Katyaya, Katyayanaya, to Katyayana, which is another name of Durga. Om Katyayanaya. So you may want to mark that. Here's one of these conventions that we've learned, at least in this particular lineage, that when we have so many notes, in this case, 3 notes that are low, all in a row, and it's towards the end, we could just go Om Katyayanaya. But what we've been learning in this lineage is Om Katyayanaya, Katyayanaya. So there's an extra note there, making it lower, and I'm not sure why, but it feels kind of nice. So I like it. I like it. Om Katyayanaya Vidmahe. Let's do that twice. Om Katyayanaya Vidmahe. And just before we do it that second time, observe all the Y's, all the yanaya. So let's make Devi Durga very happy by pronouncing those yas. Make them very, very articulated. Om Katyayanaya Vidmahe. And to move on, we have another ya in there. Kanyakumari Dhimahi. And the goddess wants us Dhimahi. So we meditate on you, Kanyakumari. Dhimahi. So those are 2 Mahaprana sounds that we need to get by emphasizing the effort coming from the abdomen. Kanyakumari Dhimahi. Twice more. Kanyakumari Dhimahi. Kanyakumari Dhimahi. Let's put all that together twice through. Om Katyayanaya Dhimahe. Never mind my mistakes. Kanyakumari Dhimahi. Om Katyayanaya Vidmahe. Kanyakumari Dhimahi. And finally, Tanno Durgi Prachodayat. Sorry, my voice wavered. Prachodayat. Twice more. Tanno Durgi Prachodayat. Tanno Durgi Prachodayat. So are you ready to put that whole final phrase together? Okay. Oh, let's see, 3 times. Om Katyayanaya Vidmahe Kanyakumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgi Prachodayat. Om Katyayanaya Vidmahe Kanyakumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgi Prachodayat. Final time. Om Katyayanaya Vidmahe Kanyakumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgi Prachodayat. So the whole point of my introducing this is back in the first part. We have a little bit of time, good. Just chant it with me, the first part. Durgan. I'll start with Om. Om Durgan Devi Gung Sharanamaham Prapadye Sutarasitarase Namaha. So Sharanam, just chant Sharanam 3 times. Sharanam, Sharanam, Sharanam. Now, let's move on to the chant we did last week, Bhadram Karnebhihi, Shranu Yama, Shranu. So my thought was how to make Shranu Yama, which is just about impossible for all of us, including myself. And it occurred to me that Sharanam has the sha and the ra in it, but the sha and the ra are separated by the vowel a. Sharanam.
Leslie, can you just clarify which chant we're doing?
Oh, Bhadra, oh, I'm not sure. I think I sent it at the last minute, and it's what we did last week. Bhadrang Karne Bhishrinu Yama Deva. It's
Oh yeah, I got it.
okay. Does everybody have it?
Thank you.
Sorry, I was just moving on. Moving on up, moving on over. So let's see what happens if we can just chant it all the way through. just to, see what comes from the memory of the tongue from last week. Or did you all practice this daily this last week? Or was it necessary to leave it alone? Okay, here we go. Om Bhadrang Karnebhihi Shranuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaistushtuvagung Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitanyadayuhu. So in the beginning, Bhadram, Bhadrang, Bhadram becomes Bhadrang in the throat because of the karar, that kararnebhihi, with our two ears, karana. Bhadrang karnebhi shrinuyama devaha. Let's just try that twice through. Om Bhadrang karnebhi shrinuyama devaha. Om Bhadrang karnebhi shrinuyama devaha. I find this difficult also because I run out of breath halfway through it. So I wanted to focus on shrinuyama, shrinuyama. Now stop and go back to the first chant we learned in Sharanam. Sharanam, 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 Sharanam. Now moving to the current one. Shra, Shara, Shra, Shranu, Shranu, Shranuya, Shranuya, Shranuyama, Shranuyama, Shranuyama devaha, Shranuyama devaha, Shranuyama devaha. So is it making any sense, or is it helpful bringing in Sharanam and then coming back to Shranuyama? They're different words, but the mouth positions, they're there. They're the same things.
Leslie, this is maybe a silly question, but I was just wondering, in the Shrenuyama, is the R there? That is a vowel, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's a vowel. However, it's the same as Ra, but Ra is a consonant and R is a vowel. But we have to do the same thing with the mouth position. But you're right, it is a vowel, and then Sharanam, that Ra is a consonant. I just thought it would be easier, it would be a way into Shranuyama devaha if we found a word that separates the sh from the ra, and it does that nicely in Sharana, and it sort of gives us refuge, doesn't it? Sharanam, meaning refuge. We can take refuge in that. Shranuyama devaha. you learned something new along with the Bhadram. So I think, and you all memorize, you committed the Bhagavad Gita verse to memory. So I think that's enough. And I'd like for us to do the closing chant. So who feels comfortable chanting either of those two verses? Would someone like to chant either the first or the second?
I can only do the second.
Okay, Patty, you
I
get,
can do the first.
okay, great. Okay, so Caitlin, you will chant the first one, and Patty, you will bring us all to a closing. And thank you in advance for that. Whenever you are ready.
Yadaksharapadabrashtam matrahinam tu yadbhavet tat sarvam kshamyatan deva narayana namostute Shrimate Narayanaya Namo Namaha
Kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhyatmanava prakriti svabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami sarvam shri krishnarpanamastu.
Thank you, Patty, and thank you, Caitlin. That was really beautiful. I'm hearing your articulation coming through clearly. It's so nice. It is one of our challenges when we learn to get that articulation in there for every sound and also have it flow nicely. And that's all coming. I'm very pleased. And before you leave, Caitlin, I did receive your email, and yes, I did listen and loved it. And I'll email you more anyway. And let's see, does anybody have anything to say? Any requests for next week?
Leslie,
We'll tackle a different verse from the Bhagavad, from the Gita.
Leslie, I just have a quick question. Pronunciation.
Yes.
Is it klesha or klesha?